Today we have a very exciting topic, TikTok creative, TikTok ads. How do we create ads for the TikTok platform? Now, if you guys have used TikTok or played around with it, I'm sure you guys know that it's a little bit different from some of the other platforms like Facebook. There are a lot of nuances to how users engage on the platform. So we're going to talk through how you guys can actually create ads that catch on, that resonate with users on TikTok, and ultimately drive ROI. And we've got the perfect guest today to help us unpack that. Ben Liska is returning, our paid social manager here at Web Mechanics. And we have a very special guest, a new guest today, joining us as well. That's going to be leading the conversation. She is one of the masterminds behind some of our most effective creative that we produce for our clients here at Web Mechanics. She is the queen sorceress, I guess I'll say, of the creative team here. Just a joy to have with us today. Abby Schuler, welcome to the Growth Clinic.
Golf clap.
That's the most flattering introduction I think I've ever gotten.
The queen sorceress. I like that.
Yeah.
I get that on your desk.
That's right.
Yeah.
Put that in your title. Well, cool. Abby, thank you so much for joining us. I guess to kind of kick things off, maybe talk us through a little bit about the unique aspects of TikTok. Specifically, how is the user experience, the psychology of TikTok different from other platforms like Facebook? And how does this inform our approach to creative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they are very different platforms, and that if anything, if you walk away with anything from this growth clinic, I want it to be that, first and foremost, TikTok is an entertainment platform. Facebook is a social media platform. Ben, can you mute? Go on mute.
Yeah, one sec.
Sorry. Facebook is a social media platform. Instagram is a social media platform. TikTok, people are there to be entertained. Facebook, you go on, you may be looking at ads are on there, but ideally, you're looking at posts from your friends, seeing what people are up to. There's news, current events, events in your area. Runs the whole gamut. On TikTok, really, people are just there to be entertained. So advertising on TikTok has to be entertaining. And that's, the biggest thing that we keep in mind as creatives is on Facebook, you have a little bit more leeway, I guess, in terms of branding, in terms of getting your message across. You can get it across slightly, I guess, slower than TikTok. TikTok, you have a few seconds and you've got to be entertaining people in those few seconds. So that's the biggest thing. I like to say blending in is more important than standing out on TikTok. It's really important to make sure that whatever you're creating ad-wise feels like a part of the platform natively. So it's not immediately clear that, okay, this is an ad, I'm just going to skip it, since that's kind of a learned behavior. We really want people to almost be tricked. I mean, that's kind of like a weird way to put it, but into watching an ad, because if they're entertained, they're thinking it's just part of the regular content.
Yeah, those are really good points, Abby. One thing I'd add, I think I heard a stat just recently that 40% of Gen Z folks, if you will, now use TikTok as their main search engine. So they're no longer going to Google for advice. They're now going to TikTok. It's kind of mind-blowing if you think about it. But I think implicit in that is the idea that TikTok should definitely be entertaining, but they should, I think TikToks that are informative as well, are pretty paramount, because people are going to TikTok to learn new things and get new insights. So if you can create content that's informative and helps the user learn something new as they're being entertained, then you're going to pull them in a way that, just kind of shoving that in their face won't really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And because you mentioned it, and I have it just here handy, Gen Z is not the only audience that's on TikTok. I know it seems like that's the biggest audience, and they do stand out, but 29% is between the ages of 20 to 29, and then 16% is between 30 and 39. I found that really interesting because in my head, I was thinking, well, it has to be between like 18, maybe 28. So to hear that there's at least 16% that's 30 to 39 was pretty interesting, but that's neither here nor there. I just thought it was interesting.
So quick poll time, drop in the chat for me, yes or no. Are you active on TikTok? Personally.
We got a couple yeses, got a couple nos.
Love
He
it.
loves it.
50-50 split, kind of.
Yeah.
That's funny, Jackie. I tend to use it only for work because I can't be on it personally. I would just get stuck. I have an
Yeah.
addictive personality. I can't get off of that thing. It's just too good.
Yeah, same, Chris. I know how addictive it is. So I'm like,
I'm just like in the ads manager or in the ad spy tools looking at all the ads.
yep. Death scrolling has increased so much.
Scrolling, yes.
Yeah, it's addictive. Lots of quick tutorials and crafts, right? So
Oh,
super
yeah.
educational. Yep. 100%. 100%. Cool. So so Abby, so as we're thinking about our approach to TikTok creative, what are some things we should do before designing an ad? So before we put pen to paper or to reel or what have you, you know, what do we need to do beforehand to make sure that our ad is successful?
So without a doubt, 100% get to know your audience. You may think you know your audience, but TikTok, because the age breakdowns are a little bit different, it kind of requires a bit more research. I like to encourage people to get on TikTok. I know not everybody is comfortable, you know, using TikTok, but just like poke around, see, filter out what you think somebody in your demographic would be looking for. So if you're a finance business, go on Finance Talk and kind of just scroll through some videos, see what those people are looking at. That way you can understand how to work your ad into content that's already on there so that it isn't really disruptive. Getting a better understanding of, you know, what percentage of your age range demographic is on TikTok is good too. If you have a demographic that's mainly, let's say 50 to 60, they're likely not on TikTok, but you never know. There is a 7% of people over 50 are on TikTok. I see a B2B question. I did have B2B.
Yep.
Okay.
And asks, anyone with physical B2B products using it?
So that's a great question. That's actually one that I asked a TikTok rep. Typically, no. It is a B2C platform for advertising purposes mainly. But you can try it. I mean, the way that they explained it to me was if you are able to make your content entertaining and using hashtags and audience targeting, find the right people, it's still a good tool. You know, half of us here just said that we're on TikTok, we're looking at TikTok, and we would be, I think, in that B2B audience. So they do exist. Performance isn't, Ben, jump in here if you've seen anything for B2B specifically, but in my experience, I haven't seen like the strong performance that we see with B2C with B2B, but.
Yeah, definitely. And the way I would look at it is TikTok can be useful in a B2B strategy, but it would be more so as like an awareness / education style platform where you could push ads educating people about your product. I wouldn't necessarily rely on it as a bottom of funnel type platform for B2B, because you also have to think of the time when people are usually scrolling through TikTok. It's not likely to be at work while working on a problem looking for a solution. It'll be, you know, after hours when they're sitting on the couch and, you know, lounging out. And so that's my take on it.
Yep. And Ted actually asked a really great question here. If anyone's using it for recruiting, such as young employees having fun at work and saying their company is a good workplace, yes, definitely. there are a couple really good examples. So there's a company called Chili Piper, which is a really hot B2B software company right now. Check out their TikTok. All they do is on their TikTok is post about how they're a remote company and how they're cool and fun to work at. And they're killing it right now with their recruiting strategy using TikTok. So yes, if you're looking to recruit up and comers, get people excited and interested in your company, specifically for working there, TikTok's a great platform for that.
DoorDash is also running a massive campaign. I think I see 4 or 5 DoorDash become a driver recruitment ads, and how people can choose their own schedule, flexible hours, have the ability to make X amount of money, 4 to 5 ads minimum every day for
Wow,
recruiting.
that's incredible.
I actually have examples of some recruiting ads that I'll share in a little bit too.
Nice, that's exciting. Cool. So yeah, so we've done our prep. One thing, Ben, I know there were some resources we could also use to kind of do a bit more research on our audience. Do you happen to have those handy, or would you be able to just mention those real quick?
Yes, it's called the TikTok Creative Center. I can pull out a link and drop it in the chat.
Yeah,
In a few seconds.
that'd be great. Yeah, but we found that super handy because you can essentially search any hashtag or any topic or any industry and drill into what's trending and what's working, right? So you can basically take the hooks that those companies are using and basically steal them and use them in your own ads, really.
Mhm.
So that's one thing I think TikTok has over Facebook is the information they provide advertisers in terms of what creative is working is way superior to what Facebook provides. So TikTok is great, not just for that resource is great, not just for figuring out what's going to work on TikTok, but you can take that and take what's working there and apply it to other channels as well. So highly recommend checking out the link that Ben dropped in the chat there. Super useful tool. Cool. So we've done our research. We've studied our audience. We have a sense of what's going to resonate. So Abby, what angles or ad concepts are we finding these days are resonating with TikTok users?
So humor, humor is big. Anything that follows current trends. You kind of touched on it when we're talking about that resource on TikTok, but making sure that you kind of have your finger on the pulse in terms of trending sounds, trending challenges, trending hashtags, especially. That's just going to make sure that your ad gets seen by more people. If you've got a trending audio in there, it's much more likely that you're going to hook people in because it's an audio that they've probably heard 50 times. They're aware of the format of the video and they're going to watch to see how it plays out. Humor, entertainment is huge. You don't have to be humorous to be entertaining, but it helps, especially on TikTok, which is a pretty humorous place in general. There's, some serious feeling advertising on TikTok, but a lot of it does lean into humor a little bit. I have like a couple examples that I can share, but overall, just making sure that it feels native to the platform. Again, blending in, not standing out. That's really like key.
Yep. Ben has a quick question. What's the number of hashtags that's best? So on LinkedIn, they recommend 4 max. Twitter says 6. So what does it look like on TikTok?
That's a good question. Ben, do you happen to know that?
For ads, I don't usually run many hashtags in the actual ad copy. For organic traffic, I would say 4 to 6, and lead with like your, what's the word I'm looking for? Like your primary vertical. So if you're a finance related service, I would start with, hashtag finance talk or whatever, something like that. I would do 4 to 6. I would also include if there's certain, hashtags that are trending that would be applicable, like hashtag TikTok made me buy it was a big one a few months ago where you were showcasing a new product and people were buying it and reviewing it. I would also run some trending hashtags like that as well.
Interesting. Super helpful. Hannah also mentions, even if the audio track for the video is quiet or simply attached to the TikTok, it can help its performance. Yeah, thank you, Hannah. That's super interesting.
Yeah, TikTok is a sound on platform, and sound is very important on TikTok, more than Instagram, more than Facebook. It is king on TikTok. So yeah, that's a great call out.
Yep. Chris, looks like you had something to add there. Or?
No, Alex Swope just walked in. I was like, who's that?
Okay, cool. Awesome, cool. So in terms of the look and feel of an ad, what are some common visual or stylistic elements that we're finding working well on TikTok right now?
So definitely, we call it like a UGC style, so user generated content. Something that feels like you picked up your phone and you filmed it. It's almost always going to look pretty low fidelity, not overly produced. We're not looking at commercial quality ads for TikTok. I would say even less polished than a Facebook ad would look, to be honest. That's just what performs really well on TikTok. And again, it goes back to as long as it feels native to the platform, it's going to perform better. Again, like working with, or not again, because I didn't mention it, but Creative Marketplace on TikTok is a huge resource. For anybody that isn't familiar with what it is, it's just there are creators on TikTok. It's their full-time job, or a big part of their income is creating ads for you and posting them through their own accounts. It reaches their audiences, and that can be a huge resource for people because you're tapping into already established audiences, using a creator that people are already really familiar with. And a lot of times they're well-known creators. If you've got the budget for it, that people are already going to recognize and already are going to be interested in watching that video. And then maybe halfway through, they're like, oh, this is an ad for Dunkin' Donuts, but it's just entertaining. And it's this guy, Zachariah, that I've seen before. So, before they know it, they've watched an entire ad.
Other people's audiences, gotta love that. And I love how TikTok basically took two things and built them into the native platform. Like the Creative Center is essentially like a really, really good spy tool. And then the Creator Marketplace is like an amazing marketplace that probably all the best creators are there, which is kind of funny in contrast to Facebook or Meta, because you see a whole bunch of tools and a whole bunch of third-party companies creating SaaS for those two purposes, like ad spying and also creator marketplaces. I don't know, kind of smart, I think, for TikTok to just own those two things.
Yeah, it's like it's already in TikTok. They make it very easy.
Yeah, because they knew that it would be laborious for advertisers to constantly create new ads. So they were like, hey, how can we help the advertisers create new ads? Let's put them in touch with the creators.
And it's so important with TikTok, I would say more than Facebook. Again, that idea of having your finger on the pulse. These trends are constantly changing. If you are constantly on Instagram Reels or TikTok or anything like I am, it seems like every week there's like 4 new trending audios or dances or challenges. It's constantly changing. So the fact that TikTok has made it really easy with these resources for you to keep track of those trends is just awesome. And that's probably why it exists, is because it's constantly evolving, and they want to make it easy for people who want to do advertising to, understand what's trending.
Yep.
Yeah, and just one more thing I wanted to chime in. TikTok's also an amazing place to find hooks, like ad hooks for other channels. If you go on TikTok, you see what's trending, you could see ad hooks that have a lot of engagement, or even videos that have a lot of engagement, and use it as a headline copy for Facebook, and it would probably work very well. So it can also be a place to do for a source of inspiration.
And one more thing that I'll just talk about quickly on, common like stylistic elements. TikTok has, duets and stitches and comment replies like natively in the platform. And a lot of people will use those in their ads to make it seem like it's part of just the native content. So they'll maybe stitch onto a trending video and then be promoting their service at the end of it. That's a great way to hook people in. Duetting takes a little bit more, I would say, cleverness and more thought. I actually have a great example of a duet ad that went super viral. It's one of my favorite examples I've ever seen. I love it. I share it every time somebody asks me for a TikTok ad example. And then commenting, which is just if somebody's commenting on your content, you can reply to it with the video. So it shows the comment in the top, and then you can make a video replying to it. That's just great because it shows that you're engaging with your audience. You're listening to feedback, you're listening to what they're saying, and you're actively involved in responding to it.
So
The
hold
other
up, Ed.
thing,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the other thing you could use the comment style video is, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a real user comment. You can just
Yeah.
add it in the box and use it to address a pain point for the product. And it's an easy way to talk about it and be like, hey, we know this, you might consider this a pain point, and here's how we solve it.
Yep, for sure.
Cool. Chris, you had a comment?
So we can go and grab any trending video and stitch an ad to it? Or is that just organically you can do that?
Organically, you can do it. I believe you can also do it. I mean, for advertising, it would have to be thematically, like it would have to make sense. It wouldn't make sense if you picked like a video that Ludacris made and tried to stitch an ad onto it and it had nothing to do with one another. That would come across as pretty like fake. But yes, if there's a trend going around, for example, like there was one recently, it was just like a woman who like hit her hip on her bed and she was just like, ow. And that sound of her started going viral for whatever reason. And people were stitching that sound onto other videos of them talking. And it just went so viral because TikTok is a bizarre place. but like that would be a good example of something that you could potentially stitch to.
So a related question from Caroline here in the chat. There's got to be some kind of like copyright or something, or by virtue of putting something on TikTok, are you releasing the rights to it?
That's a great question. I've done a lot of research on music and using sounds and copyright infringement. Everything that's on TikTok is vetted and copyright free. So you're fine to use anything that's on TikTok. You can't like import a song that you have from Spotify and use it because then that's like encroaching on that's copyright infringement, unfortunately. In terms of videos though, I'll be honest, I'm not sure, but that's a great thing to look into. Ben, do you know about that at all?
So Ben Henniger is saying in the chat, TikTok owns all the content you place on it. It's part of their user agreement.
I mean, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so good to know if you're a creator. Read the small print. Yeah. Yeah, definitely read the small print. This is great. A couple questions from the, we're going to dive into some examples soon here, but a couple questions from the chat. Ishmael asks, I'm from Panama and want to know if TikTok ads are available in the US, only available in the US and Canada, and if we know when they'll go worldwide. You guys have a sense of like the availability of TikTok ads?
I was under the impression they were already available worldwide, but Ben, do you know otherwise?
I know that they're available worldwide. I've only ever run in the US and Canada, but I can confirm here shortly.
Yep. So we'll get a final confirmation, but it sounds like you should be able to run TikTok ads in Panama, the other countries as well. There's a question from Hannah. What are your thoughts on having an animated ad on the TikTok platform?
I love it. It's a great idea. TikTok actually has shared a lot of examples of fully animated ads. I'm struggling, of course, right now to think of one. I believe Dropbox did a full animated ad. DoorDash, I think, did full animated ads. As long as it's entertaining, it's going to perform well, and the story is there and the music is there and the colors and everything. Netflix too. Yep. So yeah, I'm a big fan of animated ads. It doesn't have to just be like a talking head, holding a phone, live person, as long as it's entertaining.
Yep. And then to touch on Caroline's question, so she's had an issue where TikTok Ad Center needs her to have the rights to the Sound of Music in order to use it. Is there a way around this?
Unfortunately, no. Anything that is on TikTok in their creator platform is available for you to use. Absolutely, like rights. The rights are yours. They're TikToks, but it's free to use. If it's not on there, TikTok does not have the rights to it. So creators, advertisers don't have the rights to it. As far as I know, there's no way around it. It's very annoying, but yeah.
Yep, nature of the beast, I suppose.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's look at some ads. Abby, if you want to own the screen share,
Yes.
I'd love to
Add
see some in
ads.
action. Yeah.
So I'll share my favorite first. You can all see it?
Yep.
Okay, so Jif Peanut Butter did a collaboration with Luda. It was a duet campaign. So Luda filmed a video of him doing a rap. I'll show you. And then the challenge was "You're on." So at the end, he kind of like passes the mic to somebody, and the challenge is you also take a big spoonful of peanut butter, and then you add your rap onto the end of his. Super entertaining, went super viral. I would recommend looking up GIF rap compilations just to see some of them. They're really good. Hopefully the sound works. If it doesn't, let me know, but I'll share one of them here.
Okay. Anybody that knows me knows I've been eating GIF since I was a kid.
Nice.
What you don't know about me that it changed my rap game and my flow forever.
Dope.
So you need to do it with me.
I got
Show
you.
the world what you got.
I got that GIF right here.
Mouth full of GIF peanut butter.
Nice. Oh, I'm killing this.
Put a crown on the man with the mic in his hand from the left, pulling up with the another.
What?
Who the flip out of my gift like GIF? And I'm fucking your grill like peanut butter. You're on.
Okay. Yeah. I got this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
GIF green like cashews, everything around. Best believe me, my rap tunes tell you with the nouns of the verses. Sometimes while immersive verses. Purchase do cursive wordsmith and I earn different. Though we bread, no hole embedded. You do ready. Yo, Emperor Brandon, she said it. Rappers they spread the flow when the minds are better.
I mean,
Definitely entertaining.
definitely entertaining. And the fact that at the end of the ad, they're encouraging people to, do their own version. And it's like you're collaborating with Ludacris in like a sideways kind of way. Like people were just very interested in doing that. And it went so viral. It got so many duets. And every single one of them has peanut butter in it. Like that's just crazy how much promotion Jif got off of this one campaign on TikTok. I'll show another example, a little bit different, but we were talking about recruiting earlier. I believe this is a local company, Foss Swim School. One of our social media people who used to work here, his friend owns this company, and they started doing their recruiting on TikTok. They did it as a test to begin with, just to see if it would work. And it ended up becoming about 95% of their recruiting because it worked so well for them. So I've got a couple of examples. You'll notice that they lean really heavily into humor and some funny types of music here. So I'll do this one first. I love about this one specifically is you know that this cost just about nothing to make. They probably had this sign floating around someplace anyway. They threw it in the pool. Somebody was filming this on their phone, and this ad did really, really well in terms of recruiting for this company. And then this one too, leaning into the humor, the quick cuts, it looks a little bit more polished than the other one, but it still was entertaining and felt native to the platform.
Love
So
it. These
those
are
are
great.
the best examples that I have. If you are interested in like further reading, I would recommend looking up the EOS campaign that they ran on TikTok, EOS. They're very clever with everything that they do on TikTok. A lot of entertaining stuff that they've been working on. And I'm trying to think of the other one that it slipped my mind. If it comes back to me, I'll let you know, but these are my favorites.
Yeah, that's interesting. Some of my takeaways. So on the GIF one, like definitely influencers played a big role there.
Yes.
Like the ability to have proximity to someone cool or someone that is popular, you know, that definitely seemed to be an appeal there. I think the interactivity piece of it was huge, like being able to like stitch on and like have your own say, right?
Yeah.
You know, but making like the entertainment, right? Like that connection is sort of the thing that's front and center, and the GIF is just sort of like going along for the ride, right? So if you can embed your product into something that's already exciting for that person, then they'll just learn about it by proxy. So that's cool.
Yep.
And then recruiting wise, like keep it simple, keep it fun, right? Like lead with the benefits, right? Like cool job, fun, hang out in the pool, get paid decently for, you know, whatever your age group probably is for that job. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, you know, just having clear, simple, personable with calls to action seems to do the trick.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. So once we've launched our creatives, so say we like putting that out into the wild, you know, we're super excited for it. What are some signs we can tell whether it's working, and how can we evaluate like the performance of our creatives specifically?
So I will let Ben get into kind of the more metrics part of this, but from a creative standpoint, you can tell that an ad is resonating with your audience, that you've really nailed down the audience when you see engagement with it. People are commenting, people are liking it. Stitching your ad is like the dream. Duetting your ad is the dream, as I mean, assuming it's in a positive way. Creatively, that's how to tell that your ad is really successful. But I know TikTok has a pretty robust back end in terms of monitoring performance. Ben, do you have anything?
Yeah, and a lot of it will depend on the type of product. Say for like a lead gen, a video, you know, promoting a lead gen form or something, I would generally look at cost per result. You can get that very early indicators there. I also try to aim for a CTR of over 1%. And then another metric you can look at is just like video watch percentage. If somebody watches, if a majority watch, you know, 75% of your video or more, you're probably pretty spot on with your audience.
Cool. Yeah, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
So one question or one topic that I know comes up a lot with TikTok is sort of the tone or the feel of TikTok, and specifically with creative teams. Because especially with brand teams, it's like it's very different and might feel off-brand to some teams to create, you know, something that feels so informal on TikTok. So how do you prepare your, I guess, internal brand team for this creative shift, and like how do you soften the blow, if you will?
Yeah, soften the blow. This is my favorite question, I think, because it's definitely, it can be a struggle. If you have an internal brand team or a design team, when you are going to an outside company and they're creating ads that do feel very off-brand, and they probably will if you're running them on TikTok. Branded ads generally don't do very well. You know, having logos, end card type graphics are not going to perform as well as not having them. And that can be kind of an annoying pill for an internal brand team to swallow. I can attest to that. I've been an internal brand team and it is frustrating, but I found that when you sit down with them and you just explain the decisions that you're making and explain how advertising on TikTok is very different from advertising on Facebook and Instagram, as long as they understand that performance aspect of it, they'll be fine with it. At least that's been my experience. It's going to take a little bit of time to like release the control, but once they start seeing performance, they're just happy it's working. And ultimately, you know, you can say the ad looks like this, but you're taking somebody to a landing page probably that is fully branded, and the user is going to be interacting on that website or whatever it is, with the brand tone, and the brand look and feel. So it's the initial touch point, but it's not the final one.
Yep. And I would imagine it would help to give the brand team some credit for the successes of the ad too, right? Like if the ad does really well, say, oh, you know, the brand team looked over it, they gave their feedback,
Mhm.
you know, and that helped to sort of steer the course of this ad's success. So making sure you give some credit where credit is due.
Yeah, and including them. I mean, that has also been really helpful in cases where we've had maybe like a little bit of pushback, when you include them and let them give their feedback. But you know, make sure that they understand, like, I can't put the logo on this maybe, but I can have the font look in the brand colors or whatever. Then they feel more included. They're happier to kind of let you run with things like that.
Yeah, and one other thing, Abby, I know Bart and I have had this discussion many times where I'm like, it needs to look unprofessional. And then he highlighted the point. He highlighted the point that I never really thought about. But if you look at the top ads and the top creators on TikTok, a lot of back-end production work goes in to make it look unprofessional. I mean,
Yeah.
the sound quality is great, the video quality is great, but it still has that, you know, I'm just filming this on my day off type feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a balance. It's like a funny balancing act kind of to make it, you're putting a lot of effort to make something look like you put no effort into it.
Yeah, it's like trying to get that perfect just rolled out of bed hair. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It actually took you like 2 hours to style it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's TikTok.
Yes.
Ben has a question. What is the average spend per day on TikTok?
I mean, I've spent as high as $5,000 a day, not more. I mean, I know people spending 20, 30,000 on e-commerce products. That it's just a matter of how profitable you are. The audience is as big as Facebook for the US, and they have first party cookies. So I'd argue that tracking and attribution is a little bit better than Facebook. So
Wow, that's impressive. Is there a minimum amount you can spend per day on TikTok?
$2, I think.
Oh.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's like, or no, I actually just verified, it's $10 minimum budget.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like 300 a month or so. Cool. So I guess finally, Abby, break into some Q&A after. So what advice would you give for someone? So you're looking to get started with TikTok ads and dip your toe in the water. You know, how would we go about creating our first TikTok ad? Like, break down the logistics of that for us.
Well, you know, I'll repeat, like, you really have to understand your audience. It is a different audience than you have on Facebook and Instagram. It may be the same, but it is more likely than not it's different. And really understanding that first and foremost before you start concepting, before you start, you know, busting out your phone and your lighting equipment and filming, really understand your audience on TikTok. and get into kind of the mindset. Like I said, watch videos that you think they're watching, explore hashtags you think they're exploring. That's kind of step one. And then step two, honestly, my theory is just do it. Like just try something, get it out there. The beautiful thing about TikTok is that it is a lower fidelity ad than you see on Facebook. And I know we were just talking about, you know, there's a lot of effort that goes into making it look low fidelity, but there doesn't necessarily have to be. The ad that I shared of the guy floating in the pool, that was probably a 5-minute ad shoot, and that ad did great because it was funny, it was entertaining. Concepting with your brand team, your design team, whoever, just to come up with an initial couple of tests that you can get out there to start testing, to start seeing performance. And then once you start seeing that performance, kind of tinker, testing and improving on that to find something that works even better. So I know it's like step one, learn your audience, step two, do it. But that's kind of the I don't know, recipe for success that I've seen with TikTok is you kind of just got to get in there and try some stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like just getting a minimum viable ad out there, right? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's part of the beauty of TikTok is you don't have to be super polished. You can come in and just start testing stuff and see what resonates.
And it's fun, right? I mean, not that Facebook isn't fun, but TikTok is just funny. It's fun, it's entertaining. Like it's easier to maybe come up with those minimum viable ads than it would be for Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Abby. We've got about 15 minutes left here. Interested for any questions in the chat, but one thing that might also be fun, if you want to drop your company or the product you're trying to sell in the chat, we could do a quick teardown of like, hey, if this were our product, like how would we run an ad on TikTok for it? So if you're feeling inspired, feel free to do that and we'll do a teardown. Keisha has a great question. You mentioned creators, mentioned using creators, and if you have the budget for it, it's great to use individuals that are known. Do you have any guidance on how to go about paying creators and dealing with contracts?
Yes. So TikTok makes it very easy, that entire process, which if you've ever had to deal with hiring talent for voiceover, for actors, it can be kind of a pain. It's a full-time job. A producer obviously does that, but TikTok makes it very easy to connect with creators. Essentially, you go to the creative the creative marketplace. You do have to have permissions to view it and get approved by TikTok. But once you are in there, you're able to filter by demographics, audience sizes, industry types, etc. Find somebody that you're interested in working with and work with them through the app. A lot of creators have the price for what they charge per video listed. Some of them don't, but you can message them directly through the app or the online platform. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Contracts, I'll be honest, I'm not fully aware. I know some creators, they have their own contracts that they'll kind of send through for you to sign. You can send through contracts to them to sign. But it's a very, what's the word? Casual process, I would say, on TikTok to work with creators. And kind of letting them do their thing. Right? Like they know their audience better than you do because they're constantly talking to their audience. So in a lot of ways, they're going to be able to take the reins, and giving them the freedom to take the reins and kind of come up with a concept is the best way to go about it. I don't know if that answered your question. I felt like I was rambling a little bit, but
what's kind of like an average price? Like, are we talking like $5 a video, 500? I know it varies, but like,
yeah. So
what's like a decent creator charging these days?
I would say on the lower end, for somebody who still has a good audience size, it's maybe 400, 500. But then you do see some that are like $2,000. I think the creator that I talked about earlier, Zachariah, he does a lot of ads. I would say he does more ads than he does regular content, but people follow him for his ads because they're so entertaining. He was around a couple, like a grand and a half, I think. Don't quote me on that, but you know, he has a huge audience, and he is a super talented creator. He buys his own props, he lights things, his sound quality is great. So you're paying for, per video. You're paying for like the quality, the time, the thought, you know, his stuff. But again, there's a ton of people on the marketplace that are a lot lower than that.
So if we were
100, 200.
suppose that you hired Zachariah, does that cost also include him sharing it with his audience, or is he just creating this asset that you then go and run as an ad?
That would have to be determined like when you're talking about it up front. If you just wanted the ad for yourself, and you wanted to post it from your company's page, I think it's the same price. To be honest, I would have to look into it. I know that when you have the choice, you can either have them post it and it'll go to their audience, or you can take the video and post it and it'll go to your audience. In some cases, it's more beneficial for you to post to your audience because you have, you know, specific targeting. You really want to talk to like very specific people. And for example, with Zachariah, like maybe his audience is not your audience. So it would be better for you to post it from your account than his. Pricing wise, I'm not super sure if there's a difference between the two. I don't think so.
From my understanding, that's something that's negotiable with the creator when you're in the process of negotiating the content and the price and all that. The other thing you could do is you could run Spark ads using that creator's profile, where it's, instead of saying sponsored ad or whatever, it says paid sponsorship, and it looks like the ad is coming from the actual creator's profile. So if you're contracting a big name creator in your vertical, you could make it look like the ad is coming from their profile and not necessarily your company profile. I'm sure the brand team would have words with you if you wanted to do that, but it's an option.
But that's when you just bring them in and you explain. And
Right, the social proof of having this big name creator in your vertical, you know, promoting your product.
exactly.
Yeah, so Ismail's really trying to run some ads here. Ben, have you confirmed whether Panama? Well, I know for a
So-
fact, Ismail, that
There's
there
about
are accounts
65
outside of US. and
Yeah,
Canada.
there's about 60 or so countries. From a quick count, Panama is not one of them,
Ah,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
so Ismail, what you do is you connect to like a VPN, like a virtual private network with a server that's like in the US or something.
Yep.
That might work.
Ben, can you run ads from Panama like to the US, or you just can't at all?
I'm not entirely sure. I know certain countries you're not able to create an account. I'm not entirely sure if Panama's one of those countries. There might be some legality, like
Mm,
I'm not.
yeah.
I have friends in Europe that have created TikTok ads accounts to run ads. So I'm not sure if it's just Panama, but I can't imagine it being US and Canada only.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, well, we got about 5 minutes left. Want to be sensitive to everyone's time. Before we wrap, any closing thoughts on TikTok, Abby or Ben?
Let's see a question.
Oh,
It looks like a
question,
good one.
Akeisha.
So when I
yeah.
answer-
How often should you be creating new ads? Do you think it's okay to have one or only a few different ads running per year? Or is it better to constantly have a new ad content running?
Constantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
constantly switching it up. Ad fatigue is very real on TikTok. You really, I mean, this is not a hard and fast rule, but on TikTok, because it is an entertainment platform, you kind of don't rewatch videos the way that you, or rewatch or receive ads the way that you would on Facebook. You can re-see them, but the likelihood of you sitting and watching them again is fairly low, Ben, but correct me if I'm wrong. So it is really important to constantly be working, constantly be refreshing, constantly be putting new stuff out there, which is that mentality of like the tinker, test, and improve. Get something out there, try it, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try something totally different. If that works a little bit better, then maybe something in there is working. Maybe make a few like variations of that ad and test them out and see what works. But it is really important to constantly be refreshing. I would say maybe 1 or 2 a week. That is a lot though, and it can take a lot of time, especially if you don't have a dedicated team for that. But that's your best chance, I think, at getting that really good performance.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've said in the past as well is that it's not so much real like creative fatigue where your audience has seen the ad so many times that they're just tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
But it's more so what I like to call like AI creative fatigue, where TikTok's always going to prioritize content that it thinks is newer and show it because it wants to show people new ads and new content as opposed to the same ads 7 times over. This also kind of helps us out as advertisers because the general population on TikTok has a better sentiment toward ads because they're not seeing the same, potentially spammy ad, a bunch of times. So if you have a creative that's working and it's performing like fire, you could even, pause it, rotate in a new creative, and then relaunch that creative with, say, a different like trend intro hook. Where one quick example, I always use it. It says, that trend that was going viral, what's one thing you can share now that you no longer work at that company? And, then have like splice in your video, your creative that was working well, and just launch that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like massive content overhauls if it's working.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, again, TikToks, like the stitch and the duets, make it really easy, and the commenting make it really easy to like kind of quickly spin up new content, especially if you do have stuff that's working well.
Yeah, I mean, I've even seen stuff as simple as like just adding some subtle. So I come from the affiliate world, so we were always looking at ways to defeat Facebook's AI so we could get, ads through approval that were getting banned. So even something as simple as like adding a little music, that's quieter in the background will make it look like a different video in TikTok's AI's point of view. It'll be tagged as a different video.
Yep, makes sense. One last question here, very short, and then we'll move to wrap. Has anyone played with YouTube Shorts, which is a competitor to TikTok?
So it's funny that you asked that, actually. I was just talking about YouTube Shorts earlier this morning. Not yet. I'm starting my kind of research process on it, but haven't found anything just yet. I mean, it is interesting. Like, it is a competitor to TikTok now. YouTube was very smart with that one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count YouTube out because they're the most popular platform right now, is my understanding, like even more so than TikTok overall. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily rule out YouTube Shorts, although TikTok definitely has the first mover advantage for what they're doing. On that note, a couple things before we wrap. First and foremost, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post the recordings of the episodes every week, so if you miss an episode or just want to look back on this one, feel free to check those out. Also, next week, we're going to be doing a very exciting Growth Clinic session on how to conquer your competitors. We're going to be talking about competitor strategies for digital marketing. So definitely check that one out if you want to stick the thumb in your competitors' faces. And last but not least, thank you all for joining. And Abby and Ben, again, thank you both so much for your insights today.
Yeah, thank you all for hopping on. I hope it was helpful.